Shall I do it or shall I not? Does this happen to you sometimes? That you just can't decide? In this video, you will learn about these functions of the mind, which are acceptance and rejection, and which constantly give us trouble, and also how to go beyond it. So stay with me. We will read from the ancient yoga textbook called Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we will actually read the text from the chapter 7, text 27. Ichadvisha samutena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargayanti parantapa. O sign of Bharata, o conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. I will read some parts from the purport, the commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. And such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc. Thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I'm the master of this house, I'm the husband of this wife. These are all dualities of delusion. So before I start speaking about this topic, I would like to recite the auspicious mantras to invoke blessings and auspiciousness from my spiritual teachers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchanga Gorange Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. So yesterday we were speaking about the emotions that are giving us so much trouble, like intense emotions, how they develop and how they're actually centered around our attachment in this world. The greater our attachment is, the stronger emotions are around this attachment. It can be a person or a thing, and we are vulnerable right there. But today we will take another angle and we will look at another function of the mind, which is acceptance and rejection. I'm sure that you have experience with this, like every one of us. Sometimes we find ourselves in such a bewildered state. We just can't decide. We just go from one side of the pendulum to the other side of the pendulum, just like back and forth, and can't decide what to do. So before I go into more philosophical explanation, I would like to share with you one really interesting story of a person who was experiencing such a state. And this is a story which we can find in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is another yoga textbook. This is from the 4th canto. It is from the story about Daksha and Lord Shiva and Sati. You probably heard about Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a very special personality. He's actually not an ordinary human being at all. He is like a higher being, has special powers, and his name is Sati. In Srimad Bhagavatam is actually described that these personalities are demigods. So they have powers which are, like you could say, superpowers from our point of view, but they are not God. They are not God. So they are somewhere in between. Especially Lord Shiva is really just in between. So Sati is the wife of Lord Shiva. So I would like to just go into one particular moment in their life and give you this picture of what was happening with Sati. But first I have to give a little bit of a background of the story, what was actually happening. So what was happening was, like, the little more background was that Lord Shiva had a problem with his father-in-law. Father-in-law, father of Sati, was somehow inimical towards Lord Shiva. Because one time at one special occasion, Lord Shiva seemingly did not show his respect to Daksha, to King Daksha. Daksha is the father of Sati. He was great king, very powerful. And Lord Shiva didn't offer his respects to him. And Daksha was very, very angry at him, and he really chastised him with his words, which were very strong and actually very, very critical, even blasphemous. And since then, their relationship was not good. Actually, many things happened, but I can't go now in all the details of that other story. So let's just take it that their relationship was not good. And Lord Shiva was basically avoiding King Daksha. He didn't want to visit him and be with him, because he just knew that King Daksha is not having like a good feelings toward him. But what happened one day? One day, King Daksha was organizing a great celebration, a great sacrifice, and it was like a great festival. And they were coming from all different kinds of even planets to visit his palace and to attend these festivities. And Sati, she was actually a pet daughter of King Daksha. And when she heard from others that her father was organizing this great festival, she decided to go there. She desired to see her father, but even more than that, she desired to see her mother and all her sisters and friends, and just to have some fun with the relatives, have some good time, dress up nicely, put up nice makeup, look pretty, and just enjoy herself. So, but the problem was that King Daksha did not invite them. He did not invite Lord Shiva nor his daughter Sati. But Sati didn't think that this is a problem. She thought, oh, this is my home. This is my father's home. I can come there anytime. I'm his daughter. His pet daughter. This shouldn't be a problem. Why not? I will just go. So she approached her husband, who is actually very exalted personality, also from spiritual point of view, not only material. And she requested if they could go for that the festivities. And Lord Shiva remained very grave, very, very grave. And he warned her. He said, Sati, I was not invited, and also you were not invited, and your father does not have good feelings towards me. And because of that, he is also not favorably disposed towards you. So it is better that you don't go there. It is better that you don't go in the house where people have some inimical feelings towards you. Especially if these are your relatives, because nobody can really hurt you more than your relatives when they are like inimically disposed towards you. Sati was very, very sad to hear this, and she just couldn't accept it. She just couldn't take it, because her desire to go there, you know, to meet everyone and to enjoy herself was so strong that she just couldn't give up this desire. But on the other hand, she had like great respect for her husband, and she knew that he is very, very wise, and that his words are very, very full of wisdom, and that she should listen to him. So what was happening? What was then happening within her? Lord Shiva then remained silent, but she was just like thinking, oh, I want to go, but no, my husband doesn't want me to go, or what to do. And she started, like, there was that great fight within her mind, that great fight. Shall I go or shall I not go? Shall I stay home or shall I just like leave my husband and just go? And this internal battle was becoming so strong that she started going like back and forth in the room. And she was just looking at her husband. And it's actually explained in one of the tags that she was looking at her with her eyes, as if, you know, she wants to, with her blazing eyes. And then at one point, she actually did decide, and then she left. And to make the long story short, the end result was very, very bad for her, as her husband predicted. He said it would be very bad for you if you go. And as she went there, her father completely ignored her, and she couldn't tolerate this. And then she just committed suicide. She actually committed suicide. She burned her body with her mystic powers. But this was like the illustration of how intense this battle of indecision can be when the mind goes this way and that way, and this way and that way. Shall we do this? Or shall we do like that? So many of us are experiencing this also, maybe even on daily basis. But little do we know that actually, as in this verse that I read in the beginning from Bhagavad Gita, that this is actually the nature of our mind, is to oscillate, you know, to like a pendulum, to go back and forth from one side to another, to accept and reject. And how the mind accepts and rejects, it accepts and rejects according to our desire, what it considers to be pleasurable for us. So if there is something, you know, that we expect some gratification, some pleasure, then the mind desires it. And if there is some event or something or some person that we expect some negative experience, then we dislike it and we don't want it and we even hate it. Or the person also, we can hate it. And this actually creates then a big problem, a big problem. And when we are trying to decide, we can just like go back and forth from one side to another, and we can't, sometimes we just are completely stuck. We cannot come to any proper conclusion. So now you are probably wondering again, so what is the solution here? What is the solution? The solution here really is only one. I'm speaking of a long-term solution. Only one long-term solution exists, and this is that we purify the mind. Purify the mind and purify our intelligence and consciousness through spiritual connection, through the spiritual sound, through the spiritual mantra, pure spiritual sound of Maha Mantra, and through the spiritual literature, like this Bhagavad Gita. As soon as we engage our mind and take shelter in this spiritual sound vibration, what starts happening? These clouds that are like clouding our mind and making us, like wandering, going here and there, back and forth, undecided. The clouds start dissipating. The clouds start dissipating. Our consciousness starts rising on a higher platform. On a higher platform. And when our consciousness starts to clear up, things become more clear to us. We get more clear perspective on our life, on our situation, and also on what is best to do for any particular thing that matters at this moment. And here I would also like to mention another thing that I will be speaking more in some future classes, and this is about these invisible forces, which are called in Sanskrit 3 gunas. Guna is actually a rope. The word guna means a rope. So these are 3 invisible forces in this world in which the material energy works, and it actually binds us. We are actually bound up through these 3 invisible forces, and the lower forces bind us the most. And when we rise our consciousness on a higher level, then we rise above these lower modes of nature, and the goodness starts prevailing. And when the goodness starts prevailing, also our intelligence is much more clear, much more strong, and can start controlling the mind. So this is one other aspect which is very important if we want to conquer this mind, if we want to bring it under the control of the self. So if you like this, you can subscribe, because I will be posting many more similar classes. And please write something in the comments. If you have any thoughts, if you have any questions, or if you need some additional explanation, I will really appreciate it and I will answer. So see you next time.